All right. Hello, welcome in. By God, they did it again. All right. Hello. It's a very rainy day. I don't know if you can. I'm sure you can hear the raindrops just pouring outside my door. But by God, they did it again. We can't keep letting the Clintons get away with it. I hit the wrong button. My bad. There we go. The Clintons' body count seemingly continuing to grow. Let's let ABC 15 from their official channel. Oh, my bad. Let's let them explain a little bit. ABC 15 Arizona.
Well, we have some difficult news to share with you. A tremendous loss for the ABC 15 family as we learn that Christopher Sine has passed away. He spent more than a decade with us here in the Valley, and tonight...
My apologies.
We have some difficult news to share with you. A tremendous loss for the ABC 15 family as we learn that Christopher Sine has passed away. He spent more than a decade with us here in the Valley, and tonight we remember our colleague and our friend.
Hello, friends. I'm Christopher Sine. Have a look at your weekend traffic restrictions and alerts.
Christopher Sine wore many hats, and while many of you got to know him as a TV anchor, others knew him as a father, a husband, a University of Alabama football player, a friend.
He was a good man. He was the kind of guy completely devoted to his faith, his country, his family. He was so happy and madly in love with his wife, Loretta. And I remember the first time that he became a father of ABC 15, how thrilled and excited he was, how humbled he was by the responsibility of becoming a dad. As a teammate, Chris didn't have many peers at all. He was a consummate pro. Chris will tell you that he played little football in college, played in the trenches, played O-line. But when we sent Chris out on a story, there was our quarterback leading the team down the field, always making sure that we got that story right.
Starting in 2005, Chris spent more than a dozen years at ABC 15 covering every story you can imagine, from wildfires to the big story of the night or the big game, even breaking news on a national level.
Former President Bill Clinton was in town.
And this is where we find ourselves. Yeah, my apologies on the echo. I figured out. I think I figured out the issue. So, sorry, there was an update to the whole OBS, and I didn't go through and check everything. So this poor guy, Christopher Sine here, rest in peace, good buddy, is the guy who broke the story about the meeting on the tarmac between then Attorney General Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton. And many people saw it as a direct conflict of interest during that election cycle of the Clintons getting involved and trying to they're all friends and stuff, and essentially Bill was just like, oh, I just wanted to talk to her about family and friends and her grandkids and all that stuff. And Loretta Lynch was basically, when they got deposed, was like, I barely know him. I mean, like, have a working relationship, but we're not friends. And look, he broke the story that they had a meeting, kind of under the cloak of darkness on a private plane away from the world. And what was discussed, what wasn't discussed, was it coal, was it clean energy, was it little league stats of the grandkids, was it the weather? We'll never know. But what we do know is that if you report on a situation involving the Clintons that, I don't know, cast them in a negative light and may have, not directly, but indirectly, help spur further along the fact that old Hillary Rodham wasn't able to become the 45th and first female president of the United States of America. We know if you make them look bad, you are going to, in some disturbing way, commit suicide.
And met up with U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch.
Chris would eventually write a book about that secret Tarmac meeting, one of many stories that showcased his talent and professionalism.
You were everything that a journalist should be. Incredibly hardworking, passionate to the point of being obsessed.
Look, I could be a paranoid schizo, and I am, but they're all saying leading questions. He was so passionate. He was deeply in love with his family. This wasn't the guy. Look, there are definitely some people that kill themselves that are happy, functioning members of society that never show a symptom. But they are very few and far between. And if we're all being honest, usually someone who commits suicide, it may be a shock, it may be a tragedy, it may be unforeseen, but you saw a sign. You knew there was unhappiness. Maybe you hear that they're going to counseling or something. There's something that leads up to it. You lost your job. A family medical diagnosis that crushes them. Maybe they were just a little sad all along. There may not be a true warning sign, but there's at least a symptom. Everything that I've heard about this guy, it ain't it.
And competitive as all hell. And we learned so much from you.
He was an excellent journalist. The one thing about Chris is, during all that time that I worked with him, he just wasn't a great coworker. He became a friend. He came to my wedding. And the thing that always stood out to me was just how disarming he was. Chris, I have this vision of him always leaning back, almost putting his feet up, and he could make anyone comfortable and have a conversation with anyone almost instantly. He could instantly make you comfortable. I'm not sure that there isn't a person out there he couldn't make a friend. That's what I think of when I think of Chris. And I just don't know really what else to say.
It feels surreal to have to take this and to have to do this, but Chris was just such an amazing person. From the moment I started working at ABC 15, Chris took me under his wing. He was more than just a mentor, though. He was really like a big brother to me the entire time that we worked together.
But beyond his award-winning reporting, Chris had a welcoming way about him. He truly showed you he cared.
He's the kind of a guy who was not just your competitor or your coworker once we worked together, but he was like a family member, a close friend. We were like brothers, in contact to recent weeks, where we would text each other things about our family and things about what was happening in our lives. What I want everybody.
All right, I just want to throw this out there. This has nothing to do with this man's poor death, but why do they got the chunky reporter holding the pizza box? That's just unfair. I mean, she can still get it, but I mean, why you got the why you got the chunky reporter holding the pizza box? That is an HR thing waiting to happen. Yeah, see, that's right there, Sheila Tilley. Yes, I watched them on my local news every night. So sad, Birmingham, Alabama. Said the same thing. No suicide. It just, look. I remember when that story came out. I didn't follow through of like, oh, that's major reporter Christopher Sign of Birmingham, Alabama, and ABC 15 Scottsdale fame. But you remember like hearing that story, and it was a big deal, but it wasn't. I guess in hindsight, it's worse. Just because you keep going and understanding how, I don't know, you hope to give people at least I did hope to give people a pass. You want to go, you know what? Look, if I was the former president and I knew that the current Secretary of State, who was working for someone who I like, Obama, if I found out that they were at the same airport that I'm at the same time, and I had an opportunity, and, it wasn't going to go out of the way, if I knew that I could say, hey, I'm going to just say hi to them, say, hey, how are things going? You're doing a great job for the country. Real proud of you as the former president. You're keeping the country going. And, shake your hand, Loretta. How's the family? How's your spouse? How are the kids, grandkids? And then you move on with your day. I'd like to believe that two people in that high of power are capable of being professionals, but they're not. So, what the hell?
We would text each other things about our family and things about what was happening in our lives. What I want everybody to remember is what a great human being he was. Give you the shirt off of his back, and he would help you do anything. And that's what I hope that we can remember about Christopher Sign.
Chris also wasn't afraid to joke, as former ABC 15 News Director Joe Hegemuller says.
There really were two Christophers, and people loved being around both of them. There was the hard news reporter who could go out and get the big story, but there was also the silly and the fun Christopher. And one day, I walked into my office and I saw him sitting there in my chair. We had a good laugh about that for years. This photo, it's one of my favorites, and I'll cherish it forever.
He also had some pretty incredible dance moves on full display in one of my favorite photos. That's Chris taking my mother-in-law for a spin around the dance floor at my wedding in 2015. In 2017, he moved back to Alabama to raise his 3 sons with his wife, Laura. Because above all, beyond the bright lights, big headlines, and the next big story, for Chris, his family always came first.
To know Chris was to know that he was such a family man, and everything he did was for them and because of them, and it was so admirable, and there was a lot to admire about Chris.
My thoughts and prayers are tonight with his wife Laura and their boys. Chris's death is just absolutely heartbreaking.
And I think so many of us still in shock today. And Craig, I mean, you worked with him for so many years.
13 years, you know,
Yeah.
and we were both offensive linemen in college. We both played football, and we had that bond instantly
Yeah.
because we had played football, and I coached for many years, as you know, and Chris and I were always ready to talk about sports
Yes.
because he was a huge sports fan.
Oh, yeah.
And this just all took us by shock today.
Yeah.
And this is really, really difficult news to digest.
Yeah, and I think anybody who's said anything about him today, it's always gone back to just what an amazing person he was, an amazing husband and father, and just how desperately we will all miss him. And so, Christopher Sine, just 45 years old, he will be so, so missed, my friend. Rest in peace.
All right, so if you go through, I'm just going to show you something here. If you type in Clinton body list on Google, you're going to get Clinton body count. You're gonna get, you know, some of the generic. Let me. I don't think we're going to be playing many more videos. I think we're going to be mostly internet sleuthing. So let's get a little bit more full screen. All right. So you Google Clinton body list, you're going to get you know, a lot of Vox articles, GovInfo, Washington Post. It's oh, this is a Facebook. Click on the wrong thing. Not bad. But what you're going to find is the Clinton body count Wikipedia. Nope, that's the wrong one. Let's click on it here. Clinton body count is a debunked conspiracy theory asserting that former U.S. President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary have assassinated 50 or more of their associates. Many parts of it have been advanced by Newsmax publisher Christopher Ruddy, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, and others. Such accusations have been around since at least the 1990s, when a film called The Clinton Chronicles, produced by Larry Nichols and promoted by Reverend Jerry Falwell, accused Bill Clinton of multiple crimes, including murder. Conspiracy theory has been debunked by the Lakeland Ledger, the Chicago Tribune, Snopes, and others who pointed detailed death records, the unusually large circle of associates that a president is likely to have, and the fact that many of the people listed has been misidentified or were still alive. Others have no known links to the Clintons. So, Vincent Foster's probably the most famous one right now, I would say. Seth Rich is another big one, but that's a more recent one. It's the unsolved murder of the 2016 DNC staff member who was a Bernie bro who by the way, who promoted conspiracy theories. Promoted conspiracy theorists to speculate that Hillary Clinton was racist death. Basically, he's the guy that leaked the DNC emails to was it WikiLeaks, I think, and yeah, he's the one that released that they were all working together and they rigged Bernie from winning because they wanted it to be Hillary, and then he was going to work at 4 in the morning or something, 4:30 in the morning, and he was robbed right outside of his home. And the robbers didn't take his shoes, didn't take his watch, didn't take his wallet. They took nothing off of his person. But the robber, or would-be robber, did shoot him in the head. But the Vincent Foster one was outside Washington, D.C. That guy shot through the mouth. That's what they said. But 2 bullets through the head is the common one. And obviously Epstein. Mary Mohane, the White House intern who Mary Mohane was a White House intern who definitely was fucking the president. Things went sour, and then she was working at a Starbucks as she was really working at it. So, but you're better off looking for Clinton body counts on DuckDuckGo. So we're going to go there. To find the truth. I also like that if you Google it on regular Google, Clinton body count, you get Clinton body count is a debunked conspiracy. You go on DuckDuckGo, it does just say, based on their terms, that it's just a conspiracy theory. It hasn't been debunked. But this is a goddamn good list right here. Ron Brown, Secretary of Commerce, former DNC chairman, reported to have died by impact in police crash. Pathological close to the investigation reported that there's a hole in the top of Brown's skull resembling a gunshot wound. At the time of his death, Brown was being investigated and spoke publicly of his willingness to cut a deal with prosecutors. Vince Foster, the one we talked about, colleague Hillary Clinton at Little Rock's Rose Law Firm, died of a gunshot wound to the head, ruled a suicide. Mary Mahoney, former White House intern, murdered July 1997, Starbucks coffee shop, Georgetown. Murder happened just as she was public to go with a story of sexual harassment in the White House. Was this just a robbery gone bad? Z. Victor Razor II and Montgomery Razor, major players in the Clinton fundraising organization, died in private plane crash July 92. Paul Tully, DNC political director, found dead in hotel room, Little Rock, September 92. Described by Clintons as dear friend and trusted advisor. Ed Willie, Clinton fundraiser, found dead November 93, deep in woods of Virginia, gunshot wound to the head, ruled suicide. Ed Willie died on the same day. His wife, Kathleen Willie, claimed Bill Clinton groped her in the Oval Office in the White House. Ed Willie was involved in several of Clinton's fundraising events. Jerry Parks had a Clinton's gubernatorial security team in Little Rock gunned down and carted as a deserted intersection outside Little Rock. Park's son said his father was building a dossier on Clinton. He allegedly threatened to reveal the info. After he died, the files were mysteriously removed from the house. James Bunch died from gunshot wound suicide. It was reported he had a black book of people containing names of influential people who had visited prostitutes in Texas and Arkansas. James Wilson, found dead in May 93 from an apparent hanging suicide, was reported to have ties to Whitewater. Kathy Ferguson, ex-wife of Arkansas trooper Danny Ferguson, died May 94. Found dead in her living room with a gunshot wound to the head, and it was ruled suicide even though there were several packed suitcases as if she was going somewhere. Danny Ferguson was a co-defendant along with Bill Clinton in the Paula Jones lawsuit. Kathy Ferguson was a possible corroborating witness for Paula Jones. Bill Shelton, Arkansas State Trooper, fiance of Kathy Ferguson, critical of the suicide ruling of his fiance, found dead June 94, gunshot wound, also ruled suicide at the gravesite of his fiance. That one actually sounds like a suicide. Grady Ball, attorney for Clinton, friend Dan Lassater, died by jumping out a window of a tall building January 94. Client was a convicted drug distributor. Florence Martin, accountant, subcontractor for CIA related to the Barry Seal Manna Airport drug smuggling case, died of 3 gunshot wounds. We'll get to that Barry Seal Manna Airport drug deal. Suzanne Coleman reportedly had an affair with Clinton when he was Arkansas AG. Died of a gunshot wound to the back of the head, ruled a suicide, was pregnant at the time of death. Paula Grober, Clinton's speech interpreter for the deaf from 78 until her death December 9, 92, died in a one-car accident. That sounds like a car accident. Danny Casalora, investigative reporter investigating Mena Airport and the Arkansas Development and Finance Authority. He slit his wrist, apparent suicide in the middle of his investigation. Paul Wiltshire, attorney investigating corruption at Mena Airport with Casolaro in the 1980s October surprise, was found dead on the toilet June 22, 93 in his Washington, D.C. apartment. had delivered a report to Janet Reno 3 weeks before his death. John Parnell Walker, Whitewater investigator for Resolution Trust Corps, jumped to his death from Arlington, Virginia apartment balcony August 15, 1993, was investigating Morgan Guarantee scandal. Barbara Wise, Commerce Department staffer, worked closely with Ron Brown and John Huang. Cause of death unknown, died November 29, 1996. Bruce's new body was found locked in her office at the Department of Commerce. Charles Meisner, Assistant Secretary of Commerce, who gave John Huang Special Secretary clearance, died shortly after in a small plane crash. Dr. Stanley Hurd, Chairman of the National Chiropractic Health Care Advisory Committee, died with his attorney Steve Dixon in a small plane crash. Dr. Hurd, in addition to serving on Clinton's advisory council, personally treated Clinton's mother, stepfather, and brother. Barry Seal, drug-running pilot out of Maine, Arkansas. Death was no accident. I like how that one's just very simple. Barry Seal didn't die in an accident. Johnny Lawhorn Jr., mechanic, found a check made out to Clinton in the trunk of a car left in his repair shop. Died when his car hit a utility pole. Stanley Huggins, suicide investigated in Madison Guarantee. His report was never released. Herschel Friday, attorney and Clinton fundraiser, died on March 194 when his plane exploded. Kevin Eyes and Don Henry, known as the Boys on the Track. This is the Mena. We will get to this. This is, I think, what we'll spend the rest of our time on. Before I say the boys may have stumbled upon the Mena, Arkansas drug operation, controversial case when an initial report of death was due to falling asleep on a railroad track. Later reports claim the two boys had been slain before being placed on the tracks. Many linked to the case died before testimony could come before a grand jury. Following 7 people had information on the Ives Henry case. Keith Coney, Keith McMaskill, stabbed 113 times. Gregory Collins, gunshot wound. Jeff Rose, shot, mutilated, and found burned in a trash can. James Millen, found decapitated. Coroner ruled death due to natural causes. Jordan Kettleson was found shot to death in the front seat of his pickup truck, June 90. Richard Winters was the suspect in the Ives Henry deaths, was killed in a setup robbery, June 89. The following Clinton bodyguards are dead. Major William S. Barkley Jr., Captain Scott Reynolds, Sergeant Brian Hanley, Sergeant Tim Sable, Major General William Robertson, Colonel William Dainsberger, Colonel Robert Kelly. Hey, dude, you're working for the president. He shoots you in the back of the head. What's the deal? Spec Gary Rhodes, Steve Willis, Robert Williams, Conway LeBleu, Todd McEachin. Chinese journalist killed in the beginning of May 8, 1999 at the Chinese embassy in Yugoslavia. Xiao Yushman, Jun Jichao, and Zui Ying. 76 as a result on the Branch Davidians count. I'm not counting that as a Clinton body count. I'm not counting Oklahoma City on your list. I'm not counting the UK stuff. But a lot of these are very real. A lot of this is paranoia. But a lot of this is very real. All murdered, all dead in suspicious ways. But this is the thing that I want to... Do we not... YouTube. Okay, here we go. This is, I think, what we wanted to watch for a second here.
Barry is a guy who just saw opportunities, and really, opportunities found him.
Oh, is this for the movie? Okay, this isn't what I want. They're not going to show this. Of course they're not. All right, we're going to have to go searching here a little bit. Mena. Fuck me. Mena, Arkansas. Drug running. There we go. I want videos.
As President Obama said, for this moment, she's better qualified than he or I was when we took office. Better qualified. Why? Why is that? Because he's the only person with an actual lifetime record of doing things for other people. And it probably explains why she's been so viciously attacked by her opponent, and many of them were even around when I was president. You know, gosh, these people accused me of murder. You wouldn't believe what they did. And now they're right at the center of the campaign, just attack.
Cool, Bill. I mean, look, I'm not saying, but I'm not saying.
Are following here for you. Protests have erupted once again outside the West Hollywood home of prominent Democratic donor Ed Buck, with activists calling for Buck's arrest after a man was found dead in the apartment early yesterday, 17 months after a deceased male escort was discovered there. Arrest Ed Buck, prosecute Ed Buck, and then a jury needs to convict Ed Buck. Activist Jasmine Canick said to the crowd gathering outside the California apartment just last night. This man has had 2 dead bodies in his house, and he is still in his house, she said. Said another demonstrator, this man is a danger to our community.
Look, I'm not saying that that's all just this big evil corrupt cover up. But look, these people kill. These people are murderers. I'm sorry. But goddamn, I mean, look, Seth Rich. Hold on.
Donald Trump has had a disastrous few weeks. If you look at the polls, he needs a miracle. In the American political lexicon, there's such a thing as the October surprise. The stuff that you're sitting on, is an October surprise in there? Do you even know what you're sitting on?
By the way, this is from 2016, when Trump won.
WikiLeaks never sits on material. Whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material, and often very significant risks. As a 27-year-old works for the DNC, who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
No, there's no finding. So
what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks, and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't comment on who our sources are.
But why make the suggestion about a young guy being shot in the streets of Washington?
Because we have to understand how high the stakes are in the United States, and that our sources are, our sources face serious risks. That's why they come to us, so we can protect their anonymity.
But it's quite something to suggest a murder. That's basically what you're doing.
Well, that others have suggested that.
I like this reporter trying to get Assange locked in, and he just brushes him aside and goes, "Look, I'm not the first one. I can't do wherever he's from. I think he's Dutch, wasn't he? Assange, rest in peace. I'm sure. God, that's so sad that they got Julian Assange. I just remember that they got him kicking and screaming out of that embassy, didn't they? Oh God, hold on. Dude, that was 2 years ago? I could have swore that was like 5 months ago.
Dramatic pictures are of Assange's arrest just a couple of hours ago. Julian Assange, now with a beard, carried out of the Ecuadorian embassy by London's Metropolitan Police. The culmination of mounting efforts to oust him by both Ecuador and the U.S., as revealed in a WikiLeaks press conference yesterday.
We also know that there was a request to hand over visitors' logs from the embassy and video recordings from within the security cameras in the embassy. So we assume that this material, this extensive material that has been gathered, has been handed over to the Trump administration. And the Moreno government in Ecuador has been all too willing to help out by pushing Julian Assange out of the embassy.
His arrest today tied to a warrant over the rape allegation. It has nothing to do with recent charges from the U.S. Justice Department, which filed criminal charges against Assange over the publication of classified material. Assange created WikiLeaks, which gained enormous attention in 2010 after releasing troves of classified United States documents and videos about the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. During the 2016 campaign, WikiLeaks also released thousands of emails stolen from the computer systems of the Democratic National Committee. It's no secret relations with his hosts have soured. Ecuador's president saying he's repeatedly violated the terms of his asylum. There have been issues with Assange's housekeeping, his internet usage, even his pet cat. At one point, the embassy even cutting off his internet access. Ecuador granted Assange asylum in 2012 in the
So wait, once again, Ecuador's reason for saying, you know what, we brought in this man to our embassy because we believe in the freedom of journalism and the ethics of journalism, and we believe that overreaching oligarchies like the United States, who have continuously put into place through sheer force of will leaders that have ravaged our continent for going on 60 years now. We're gonna hand him over to the British and to the U.S. on a bogus rape case. And I'm not saying all rape cases are bogus. Rape is certainly a horrible crime and should be prosecuted to the fullest extent all of the time. But it is a bullshit rape case that they got Assange on. You can go look up the details. I'm not going to sit here and waste time doing that now. This is you're gonna kick him out and give him up to the British and into the U.S. because he's using too much of your Wi-Fi and he doesn't pick up the plates and his cat's not a friendly cat. You're not a fan of his cat. I don't believe you, Ecuador. I believe that you are lying. I believe you are being influenced by government CIA mind control. I believe you're being infiltrated by the New World Order. You see, this is why Julian, you could have come and lived with me in Mexico. I live 6 months out of the year. I live on the Baja Peninsula. Wonderful surfing. I live off the grid, Julian. We got batteries for everything. We go down to the local. You go down to the local taqueria. And I don't speak much Spanish since I spend most of my time surfing. surfing the webs for Clinton body counts and surfing the waves of the Baja. Well, we go down to the local taqueria, and even though I don't speak much Spanish, everyone loves me because I walk in and I say, "Cerveza, please." Everyone gets a cerveza on the body.
Midst of a rape investigation in Sweden. The case was eventually dropped, but Assange has chosen to remain in the embassy, seen only during occasional addresses from this balcony, and now forced to leave.
I wonder what the comments were like in this video. It's a Today Show. Telling the truth is the biggest crime you can commit in today's free world. He is a hero. UK and USA showing their true colors. He's a hero. Truth is a treason in the empire of lies. Freed this man. They sold him. Poor man. WikiLeaks are the heroes. Now they will demonize Assange to convince people Assange is the worst criminal. Voice like this from NBC Puppet will play the game. This is what $10.2 billion in a corrupt government does. Oh my God. I wonder, going back to the poor fellow that led us to talk about this today. Poor Christopher Sign. All right, let's just leave. This is his farewell from ABC 15 3 years ago. Let's see if this just sounds like a guy who could possibly be suicidal.
You've not heard already. Today, a tough day for us because our good friend Christopher Sign, it's his last day at the live desk here at ABC 15.
Yeah, after more than a dozen years in Phoenix, he is moving on to Sweet Home, Alabama. It's a tremendous opportunity for him. We are so proud of him. But we got to take a look back at some of Chris's award-winning reporting.
From the live desk happening right now, we're going to take you to Tempe where there's an apartment fire. There is a continuing investigation happening at this very moment. A meeting taking place on the tarmac at Sky Harbor.
ABC 15's Christopher Sign live in the exact spot where it all ended.
Active fire in red. This fire is moving to the south. Even during a wind-driven fire like this one, the landscape is no match for a fire. From up here on the edge of the Mungyang Rim, this is something spectacular.
It's Christopher Sign, our lead reporter on this investigation.
2 people were killed here not too long ago. The baseline rapist, the serial shooter.
I'm sorry. Can we all... I like this. I like the central shooter. I like the serial shooter. My favorite, the baseline rapist. He gets down to the base of it all. He's a rapist. Serial predators. I'm sorry. That was just a nice transition from the 2 dead to the baseline rapist.
People were killed here not too long ago. The baseline rapist, the serial shooter. Mark Godot's defense team is...
That's right. The baseline rapist is a strong Karl Malone type power forward who stops slashers at the baseline and blocks their shot into the 7th row of the Pepsi Cola arena. That's the baseline rapist, and the serial shooter is the Trix Rabbit is out of a job and is now taking his revenge on the whatever the Lucky Charms fella's name is, and he's doing everything he can to eradicate bees, so that just regular Cheerios.
Serial shooter. Mark Godot's defense team is trying to create doubt in this case. Former President Bill Clinton was in town and met up with U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch. Will the administration...
See, this was the problem. You got this news story. You shouldn't have gotten this news story. This is the story that got you killed.
Will the administration protect whistleblowers? Are you the I-10 shooter? 100% no. Let's walk over to the live desk. This is the latest one. This is going to be APS. Christopher Sign. Christopher Sign. I'm Christopher Sign. Have a safe weekend. Gosh, it got real.
I know, right?
Chris.
I said on my Facebook page, it's bittersweet because you are leaving us for one of those incredible opportunities to be an anchor back in Alabama.
Right, to return back to
Yeah.
Alabama. Went to school there, obviously, at the University of Alabama. And my wife and my 3 boys, so excited. And most importantly, though, you all know that I love you, and the viewers at home know that I love you. But it's the people you don't see that make this television station operate. And the professionals behind the camera, I love you. To all the photographers, to the producers, to everybody in production, they make it look like I've known what I've been doing these past 12 years, and it's phenomenal, the people and my friends that I've come to enjoy here.
Well, we've worked together for almost 5 years that I've been here at ABC 15. I knew Chris a little bit before that as a competitor. I was at a competing station, and I always looked at Christopher Sign, and I thought, when I was out on scene and we'd be reporting on things, what does he know that I don't know? Why is he doing so much? So Chris, consummate professional and a great friend, so we're going to miss you.
I'm speechless, but thank you.
Well, it's only 5 o'clock,
Yes.
so don't go anywhere. We still have a lot more coming, but of course, we love you and we are so proud of you.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, you had to find out that Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton met on a tarmac. You had to report on it. Now you have killed yourself, apparently.
Well, let's bring it back here at home here in Phoenix in a very interesting meeting on the tarmac at Sky Harbor International Airport. As ABC 15 has confirmed, former President Bill Clinton was in town and met up with U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch as she was arriving in Phoenix. Now, this meeting took place just hours before the release of the Benghazi report, so we asked her about it.
I did see President Clinton at the Phoenix airport as I was leaving, and he spoke to myself and my husband on the plane. Our conversation was a great deal about his grandchildren. It was primarily social and about our travels. He mentioned the golf he played in Phoenix.
It doesn't end there. We're told the private meeting on board her plane lasted about a half hour.
You talked about former president and the current attorney general had 30 minutes to sit on a tarmac and talk grandkids.
We're told the private meeting on board her plane lasted about a half hour. Lynch then told us there was no discussion of Benghazi, of State Department emails involving Hillary Clinton, or any current matter having to do with her office, Dan.
Got you killed, buddy. Let's see if the newest comments rest in peace to the reporter who broke the news. This reporter who broke the story is now conveniently dead. Truly amazing.
Now to the race for the White House and new developments in the email scandal that has been dogging Hillary Clinton's campaign. ABC News has learned that the FBI may interview the candidate herself very soon. This, as the U.S. Attorney General is now scrambling to deal with the fallout with a meeting with Bill Clinton. Donald Trump has been crying foul about that, and ABC's Mary Bruce is on the story from Washington. Hey, Mary.
Hey, good morning. Well, that private huddle between Bill Clinton and the Attorney General has become a self-inflicted wound for the Clinton campaign, raising questions from critics about bias. And all this is coming as the FBI is now on the verge of finally interviewing Hillary Clinton. This morning, sources tell ABC News the FBI's long-awaited interview with Hillary Clinton could take place within days, as it gets closer to deciding whether to file charges against the former Secretary of State.
Certainly my meeting with him raises questions and concerns.
But the Attorney General, who has final say over that decision, admits she made a big mistake meeting privately with Bill Clinton earlier this week.
I certainly wouldn't do it again, but it really was a social meeting.
Hoping to quiet the firestorm, Lynch says she'll follow any recommendations made by the lawyers and FBI agents investigating Clinton's use of a private email server during her time at the State Department.
The fact that the meeting that I had is now casting a shadow is something that I take seriously and deeply and painfully.
As for Clinton and Lynch's
Do you?
Tarmac encounter, unplanned and purely social, discussing their grandchildren, not the investigation.
Oh, just a coincidence, you know. He just happened to be at the airport at this time.
Donald Trump's not buying it.
I love my grandchildren so much. But if I talk about them for more than about 9 or 10 seconds, you know, what do we...
Mocking the description of their discussion.
I love that one. I love that one. I love that one. And look at the beautiful... I love these kids. After that, what are you going to say, right?
And this morning, still no word from Hillary Clinton.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that took that comment and said, he just doesn't love his kids. And he just doesn't. There's no love. And obviously, Bill and Loretta, they could talk about their grandkids for half an hour because they're actually invested and love them. Unlike that piece of shit president that hates his family. But let's be honest, it's the truth. How long can you really talk about what your kids or your family is doing before it gets... They're doing it. You don't need to do it for them. Like, how long does it take to say that Scotty's in karate, Jillian's in dance, and Bubba's doing heroin? What is the title of his book? Gotta get that thing. I don't know what you're talking about. Was there a book referenced?
Clinton or her campaign about that meeting between her husband and the Attorney General. Paula.
All right, Marianne, thank you very much. We want to bring in ABC's political analyst, Matt Dowd, down in Austin, Texas. Matt, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Paula.
And first, so we've learned that Hillary Clinton will be interviewed by the FBI very soon, possibly over the weekend. But how bad do these optics look for her campaign?
Really bad, Paula. I think this is a case of re-emphasizing and confirming a certain bias and a thought people already have of her, which is you can't trust her, you don't trust the situation, and that's what a majority of Americans already feel. It just re-emphasizes it in the course of this. I think this is, as was said, a self-inflicted wound. It's only going to be recovered on the outcome of whatever happens with the FBI.
Yeah, Trump is pouncing, saying that Bill Clinton opened up a Pandora's box by meeting with Loretta Lynch. Does he have a point, and do you think this could help him?
Yeah, he absolutely has a point. I actually think it's an interesting use of a Greek mythology. Pandora was the first woman on Earth, and Hillary Clinton is the first woman running for president on a major party ticket, so I think it fits. I think the difference...
That's who you're going to connect to Pandora's box? Okay, stupid.
I mean, look, Hillary Clinton was the first woman who tried to be president, and Pandora was the first woman. They're practically the same.
This is the difference between the airport movies and the airplane movies. In the airport movies, the Republicans say this is a total disaster. The Democrats want to laugh this off as the airplane movies, which is, I picked a bad day to have a meeting on the tarmac. And I think that's the situation here.
You are a master at metaphors and analogies.
How?
Is that last question for you? So how is...
You brought up the metaphor.
Clinton's camp, how is she pushing back, and do you think Bill will actually remain on the trail for her throughout the campaign?
Well, I don't think they're pushing back very well, and I think they're in a bad situation where they can't really push back very well. They have to just get through this. I said, as you know, Paul, a long time ago, a year and a half ago, I thought Bill should be sidelined. I think Hillary Clinton is much better off on her own, running her own campaign in the course of this, not the least of which she wants to stand on her own, but the fact that Bill Clinton is constantly in the source of these, making mistakes. He's a much better campaigner for himself than he is for his wife.
Great explainers, Matt, and thank you for explaining to all of us the origination of Pandora's box. We appreciate it. Have a great...
Ew. Why? Okay, who is this guy? Why was she sucking his dick so bad?
Plane movies in the airport.
Box by meeting with Loretta.
And that's what a majority of Americans are. I think this is
by the FBI. Very political analyst Matt Dowd.
Matt Dowd? Who's this cocksucker? What Why is he hot shit? He was the chief strategist for the Bush-Cheney 04. Okay. I don't care anymore. If I'm gonna be honest, I don't care anymore. They killed another. They killed another one. Yes, the natural decapitation, good boy, is good. That is. He has no head. Yes, natural causes. But yeah, it's just unbelievable that so many people can die and just no one does anything about it. Well, that was depressing. It's a depressing day around here. A lot of rain. It's like maybe 55 degrees. It's just dark, dreary, and miserable. So what I will say is we'll probably come back a little bit later, maybe with some gay pride protest. There's supposed to be a big one in Portland. Let's see what this is. There's supposed to be a big protest in Portland today for gay pride, but a lot of rain, so I don't know how many will show up. Okay. That's live. There's nothing going on at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. So like I said, we'll call it good for now. Thank you for joining us and spending time learning a little bit about the Clinton body count and how unfortunately what was his name again? Oh, I feel bad. Christopher Sign, that's right. Christopher Sign. I was going to say Christopher Smith, so I didn't want to screw that up. Poor Mr. Christopher Sign today, 45, passed away of suicide. And it was definitely suicide. Definitely not his involvement with the Clintons and the threats that he'd received. What a life. Let's do a 10-bell salute and get out of here.